When I left the radio yesterday, I was dealing with the nature of God and the matter of God's grace as it is revealed even in the dispensation of the law. Now I'm dealing with a larger matter of blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And I've tried to point out that the blindness that Israel is under and has been under is not total blindness, but as the scripture says, blindness in part. It was the purpose of God to chasten the nation of Israel, but it was not his purpose to exterminate the nation of Israel. The purpose of God is manifest in the fact that God will chasten the house of Israel, that God will correct the house of Israel, but God will not do away or put away the house of Israel. The nature of God can be witnessed by his offering mercy and grace in the midst of judgment. His faithful watch care over his earthly chosen people, the house of Israel, can always be witnessed. And even in the Old Testament economy, and this is what I was dealing with, God instituted the sacrificial system, but he instituted the sacrificial system as a means of manifesting and magnifying his grace. Even with the legal demands of the law dispensation, God has continued to manifest his grace by making a sacrifice available. Now, why would God do anything different? Grace and the dispensation of the grace of God causes man to maintain, causes God rather, to maintain a remnant of Israel today. I think it is incumbent upon mankind to recognize this and to understand that God will sustain, God will maintain a remnant of Israel, a remnant of believing Jews unto this very hour. Now the prepositional phrase in part, that blindness in part is happened to Israel, gives us the hopeful prospect of a believing remnant in the midst of national and spiritual blindness. There's no doubt in my mind that the nation of Israel spiritually is in utter and complete blindness. There is no doubt of that. There is no denying of that. There are more atheists among Jews by and large in the world today than any other race of people. More Jews are atheists, and I struggle to comprehend that the nation of Israel, born of God, God's earthly chosen people, blessed of God in so many areas, and yet that many of them are trapped in unbelief. Now, Paul asked the question, if some did not believe, in the book of Romans, does that make the faith of God of none effect? In Galatians 2, I should say. Does that make the faith of God of none effect? And Paul answers his own question rhetorically by saying, God forbid. Even if some of them, some of Israel, did not believe, that does not nullify or negate the area and the matter of the faith that God has established and the faith that God has given. So the prepositional phrase in part, blindness not in whole, blindness in part, gives the hopeful prospect of a believing remnant, even in the midst of Israel's judicial blindness. Now this is nothing new. As we have seen, this is a part of God's very nature. To call out a remnant, the Bible is filled with remnants. To call out a remnant, to give another opportunity to men to believe, to allow them another opportunity, to allow men a reprieve in the matter of believing, in the matter of the faith. Now God has been in the remnant business for a long time. You remember Gideon's 300? That was a remnant. Remember David's mighty men? That was a remnant. Paul the apostle said concerning this, for ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called, but God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. 1 Corinthians 1 and verse number 26. The Bible also says, what shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Now notice this matter of a remnant. God had a remnant of spies who did reconnaissance in the land of Canaan. There were 12 spies that went in. And the majority, 10 of them, said, we can never take the land. The land is there. Obviously, it's a land that floweth with milk and honey. It is a wonderful and a blessed land, but we can't take it. There's no way that we can take that land. These spies served as commandos. They were a special operations team, much like the Marine Corps Raiders or the Army Rangers, and they were there to take names, as it were, in the land. I mean, they were there for business. Moses was ordered to choose the head of each tribe, 12 in all, to spy out the land. Of the tribe of Reuben, Shammah; of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat; of the tribe of Judah, Caleb; of the tribe of Issachar, Igal; of the tribe of Ephraim, Oshea or Joshua; of the tribe of Benjamin, Paltai; of the tribe of Zebulun was Gadiel; of the tribe of Joseph, namely the tribe of Manasseh, was Gadai; and of the tribe of Dan was Amiel; of the tribe of Asher was Sethus; and of the tribe of Naphtali was Nabai; of the tribe of Gad was a man by the name of Guel. Now, they could have possessed the land. God had promised them they could have the land. In fact, they could have possessed the land simply on the promise of God. But they became blinded. They became blinded by the giants in the land. They became blinded by their own small stature. And it was only a remnant, only the remnant of Joshua and Caleb believed by faith that they could conquer the land and do exactly what God had told them they could do. One of the worst things that happens in the life of a born-again believer is when a born-again believer begins measuring the circumstances. Now, I'm not telling anyone, and those of you that hear the Bright Spot Hour regularly know that I'm a very conservative and a very cautious man. I don't fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm not a reckless individual, never have been a reckless individual. There are radio stations that want the Bright Spot Hour to go on their stations now, and I have not, because I don't have the money to take on another radio station. And perhaps I should have more faith, but then the last thing I want to do is go on a station and then have to go off because I'm unable to pay for the radio time. I'm unable to pay the radio bill. When you and I begin to measure the smallness of our stature by the bigness of the opposition, we will never step out by faith. We will never move forward at God's bidding. We will never go forward to conquer the land. When you and I hesitate because of the smallness of ourselves and the weakness of our ability, our inability, we understand in the light of the circumstances, in the light of things that we have much to be desired. We understand our own weakness. We understand our own smallness. Sometimes that will cause us to hesitate like the 10 spies, rather than simply believing God. You see, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And if I can see the means and the method of my deliverance, why in the world would I need faith to believe God? If I can see my own way out, then why should I believe God and trust God? But when I can see no way out, when I can see no plan of escape or plan of rescue apart from the supernatural providence and supernatural intervention of God, then and then only I am shut up to the area of faith. And I must simply take God at His word and believe God for the victory in my life. Now, the Lord willing, when we come back tomorrow, I'm going to continue dealing with this matter. I hope that you'll hear the Bright Spot Hour as I continue dealing with the nation of Israel.
You may write the Bright Spot Hour at Post Office Box 4, Greenville, South Carolina 296.